The Battle of Edessa, fought in 260 CE, was a significant encounter between the Roman Empire and the Sassanian Empire of Persia. This confrontation resulted in one of Rome's most catastrophic defeats, with far-reaching implications for the Roman state. This battle exemplifies the intense power struggles of the era, characterized by Rome's attempt to maintain dominion over its eastern territories against a resurgent Persian force. Understanding the Battle of Edessa is crucial, as it not only impacted the balance of power in the region, but also highlighted the vulnerabilities of the once dominant Roman military machine. Historically, the Battle of Edessa is significant because it marked the first and only capture of a Roman Emperor, Valerian, by a foreign enemy. This capture humiliated Rome and signaled a weakening grip on its eastern provinces while empowering Shapur I, the Sassanian king. This event underscored the strategic importance of Edessa, a gateway city in modern-day southeast Turkey, as it was pivotal for controlling trade routes and military corridors between empires. One real-world parallel can be drawn with the defeat's impact on Roman civil administration, as the loss coincided with the empire's crisis of the 3rd century, a period of military, economic, and political instability. Another can be found in the diplomatic maneuverings post-defeat, which forced Rome into temporary retractions in policy and territory, much like modern nations retracting from overextended foreign engagements. Supporters of the perspective that Rome was overstretched argue that the battle reflects a pivotal moment, illustrating the empire's unsustainable expansion. This defeat, while a singular military disaster, is seen by some historians as presaging the empire's eventual decline. However, there are alternative viewpoints that suggest the battle was merely a temporary setback. Some argue that it wasn't so much a sign of Roman decline as it was the Sassanian Empire's rise under Shapur I's leadership. This analysis highlights the dynamic and fluid nature of empires in late antiquity, rather than a simplistic narrative of Roman decay. Therefore, the Battle of Edessa can be seen as a turning point that not only influenced contemporary military and diplomatic efforts, but also impacted the broader trajectory of the Roman Empire's history. It laid the groundwork for subsequent confrontations and alliances, thereby intertwining military defeats with political restructuring and shifting power dynamics throughout the Roman world. Understanding this battle provides insight into the broader challenges faced by empires, both ancient and modern, when confronting strategic overreach and resource limitations. The Battle of Edessa in 260 CE represents a crucial turning point in Roman history, highlighting the vulnerabilities of the once invincible Roman Empire. This battle marked a catastrophic defeat for Rome at the hands of the Sassanian Empire, led by King Shapur I. Roman Emperor Valerian, who personally led his troops, was captured in what remains one of the greatest military humiliations in Roman history. The loss at Edessa underscored the shifting power dynamics between Rome and Persia, dramatically affecting the Roman state's internal stability and its geopolitical strategy. The significance of the Battle of Edessa lies not only in the immediate military and diplomatic repercussions, but also in its long-term impact on Roman prestige. This defeat exposed the susceptibility of Rome to barbarian invasions and civil unrest, setting a precedent that the empire was not invulnerable. It also demonstrated the efficiency and strength of the Sassanian military, boosting Persian confidence and influence in the region. Two specific examples illustrate this point. Firstly, the capture of Emperor Valerian by Shapur I served as propaganda for the Sassanian Empire, emphasizing their dominance over Rome, and it was famously depicted in rock reliefs in Naqsh-e-Rostam, portraying the emperor in a submissive posture. Secondly, the defeat led to increased internal strife within Rome. Following Valerian's capture, his son Gallienus assumed power, facing numerous rebellion attempts and usurpations, reflecting the empire's fracturing political landscape. Some historians argue that this event was a catalyst for the later period of turmoil known as the crisis of the 3rd century, a time characterized by rampant instability, economic decline, and further military losses for Rome. However, there are alternative viewpoints suggesting that the Battle of Edessa was more a symptom than a cause of the overall decline, with deeper systemic issues at play within the empire's administrative and military structures. One of the challenges associated with interpreting this event is the limited and often biased historical sources available, particularly those from Rome itself, which may have downplayed the severity of the defeat to maintain morale. Furthermore, the battle's portrayal has sometimes sparked controversy regarding the extent of its immediate impact compared to its symbolic significance. In understanding the Battle of Edessa, one can observe its profound influence on Rome's approach to border defense and diplomacy with Eastern powers. The battle underscored the necessity for Rome to fortify its eastern provinces, leading to strategic military reforms that sought to stabilize and protect the empire from further encroachments, thus deeply influencing the trajectory of Roman military and foreign policy. The background of Roman-Persian relations prior to the Battle of Edessa in 260 CE is crucial for understanding the full context of this devastating defeat for Rome. Historically, the relations between the Roman Empire and the Sassanian Empire of Persia were marked by territorial disputes, diplomatic negotiations, and intermittent warfare. Both empires vied for dominance over key regions such as Mesopotamia and Armenia, which served as vital buffer zones and sources of strategic advantage for both powers. This ongoing rivalry significantly shaped the political landscape of the ancient Near East and proved to be a continual source of conflict. The significance of these pre-existing tensions is paramount in understanding the Battle of Edessa. The ever-present struggle for supremacy meant that both Rome and Persia were locked in a seemingly endless cycle of hostilities and treaties that were frequently broken, setting the stage for the confrontation at Edessa. This battle served as both a catalyst for future conflicts and a symbol of the shifting power dynamics in the region. To illustrate the point, consider the reign of Emperor Septimius Severus, who launched successful military campaigns against the Parthians, the predecessors of the Sassanian Persians, and extended Roman influence in Mesopotamia. However, the stability was short-lived, as evidenced by the rise of the Sassanian Empire under Ardashir I, who restored Persian power and reignited hostilities with Rome. Another example is the frequent seesawing control over Armenia, which both empires sought to dominate due to its strategic and economic importance. Opinions on this long-standing rivalry often highlight the relentless nature of imperial ambition and the cyclical pattern of history. Some historians argue that the Roman focus on maintaining eastern borders compromised their ability to address other challenges within the empire, while others emphasize the role of Sassanian military innovation as a decisive factor in their eventual successes against Rome. Challenges arise when considering the complexity of these relations. The Romans viewed themselves as the predominant world power, often underestimating Persian capabilities and resilience. Meanwhile, Persian chronicles depict their resistance against Rome as a righteous struggle for sovereignty, highlighting the cultural and ideological dimensions of the conflict. Roman-Persian relations prior to Edessa influenced subsequent historical events, such as the eventual fall of Roman Emperor Valerian, who was captured during the battle, a humiliation that underscored the severe consequences of underestimating Persia. This defeat at Edessa highlighted the vulnerability of Rome's eastern frontiers, prompting future emperors to reassess their eastern policies and military strategies. This tumultuous relationship thus not only framed the events leading to the battle, but also set the stage for the evolving dynamics between East and West in the late ancient world. The Battle of Edessa in 260 CE marks a significant and devastating defeat for the Roman Empire, facing the might of the Sassanian Empire under King Shapur I. This encounter, characterized by the encirclement and capture of the Roman Emperor Valerian, highlighted the shifting balances of power in the ancient world. With nearly the entire Roman army annihilated or captured, the battle underscored the vulnerabilities in Rome's military strategies and the resilience and tactical superiority of the Persian forces at the time. The significance of this defeat is monumental, as it represents not only a military loss for Rome, but also a symbolic blow to the Roman perception of invincibility. This event destabilized the Roman Empire, exposing internal weaknesses and contributing to what some historians consider the beginning phases of the Roman crisis of the 3rd century. Such a crisis involved political instability, economic turmoil, and increased pressure from other borders, profoundly impacting the empire's ability to maintain its territories and influence. To depict this point, consider the example of Emperor Valerian being taken captive, an unprecedented event that underscored the humiliation of Rome. His capture had far-reaching implications, causing a leadership vacuum that exacerbated existing political and military challenges within the empire. Another example is the erection of the monumental rock relief at Naqsh-e-Rostam in modern-day Iran, celebrating Shapur's victory. This relief served not only as a propaganda tool to highlight the Sassanian triumph, but also symbolized the Persian Empire's growing confidence and regional dominance. Opinions surrounding this defeat often emphasize its role in the broader historical landscape. Some historians argue that this battle marked the beginning of Rome's downward trajectory, influencing future defensive strategies and military restructuring. However, other scholars suggest that Rome's resilience and eventual restoration during the later part of the 3rd century indicate its capacity to overcome such adversities. However, certain controversies and challenges arise, especially concerning the interpretation of the battle's long-term impact. There are debates about the accuracy of ancient sources, which may exaggerate the scope and outcomes to serve contemporary political narratives. Moreover, alternative viewpoints exist regarding the actual significance of Valerian's capture, with some suggesting it did not drastically alter Rome's imperial strength in the immediate aftermath. Ultimately, the Battle of Edessa profoundly influenced the Roman Empire, forcing it to reassess its military capabilities and strategic approaches. This event also foreshadowed the increased pressures from external forces and internal strife that eventually culminated in the division of the Roman Empire into East and West, shaping the future of Europe and the Mediterranean world.